This is a lake that I often go to sit and relax, get my mind off of things. You know, everybody needs a getaway spot. So here I was when another YouTuber contacted me, Tommy Jude, and he and his audience started asking me questions about the Idaho 4 Kohberger case. So here I am in this episode, 5 questions that I was asked by Tommy Jude and his audience. I hope you're having a relaxing day as I am. You know, one of the questions that often comes up about the Kohberger case is it's been quite a while now. There's been an excessive amount of delay. Let's see what questions Tommy Jude and all of his viewers have.
This is from Deborah Lynn Pauley, Putnam. And she goes, Andrew, may I ask your thought about the 1122 King Road home being demolished?
Oh, my God. That was just wrong. That was just wrong. That was just wrong. It's a crime scene. And yeah, I know there are people out there that say, oh, well, it had been changed so much and it just wasn't the same. Yeah, but it's where the crime was. Now, what if the jury has questions at trial that these LiDAR and radar and, you know, all these, you know, representations don't really think about? What if the jury really, really, really wants to go and take a look? They can't, can they?
Right. No.
And I know the FBI it's gone. You know, they put together all these recreations and all this kind of, you know, rubbish. But you know, at trial, there's a valid. Now, if Ann Taylor and William Thompson agree, then it goes in, and everything I'm about to say is irrelevant. But you know, at trial, there's an objection to these things that they have to have substantial similarity to the actual scene, and also if the prosecution or the defense do a video and edit it, guess what? The other side is entitled to all the raw video. So that's going to take a lot of time to go through that raw video. Maybe that's what maybe that's what a couple of the terabytes of the 51 are. I don't know. But I don't know about you. But you know, haven't you ever had the experience of like seeing stuff on TV or in a movie or in a photograph, and then you went there and saw it, and it's like, what? No, it doesn't. You have to get the feel of a place.
Right.
Feel of a place.
I think the biggest thing to me on that one was the sound.
Oh yeah.
That to me, that's the biggest thing. That why, if I was a juror, I would want to know what it sounded like in that house.
Yeah. How can you be on the second floor and not hear something like this on the third floor? Or how can you be on the first floor and not hear something? How?
We seen videos and of them just going up the stairs, and it's like boom, 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 boom. Yeah. It's just what the, this is a loud house. And
yeah, I didn't see those videos, but I've heard of people that lived in that house before, and they said it was just built with toothpicks. You could hear people walking around. If you're on one floor, you could hear all the other floors. So
yeah, and maybe that's why they wanted it, torn down. I don't know.
I mean, I have one war story where I was doing a boundary line dispute. I was representing one of the parties in a case where there was a boundary line dispute. I represented this guy, the other guy represented the other guy, and it was a trial to the bench, just a judge. There was no jury. And we had done pre-trials, and we had talked about the case. And in the final pre-trial, the judge actually said, I see all these, we had drawings and maps and plans and all the rest, these big things you got to unwind and crinkle and everything like that. The judge herself suggested, I want to take a look at this site. So we drove from the court, that we all drove separately, but the judge was driven there. I think it was about 30 miles from the courthouse to where these properties were. And it was a rugged kind of a place in the backwoods. And there were woods and rocks and mud. And the judge put on her boots. The neighbor and my client and the other attorney and myself and the judge herself and a couple of court officers who were just like going like this. We actually, pointed out, the rods and the tape that the surveyors had measured and put up. And we had to walk all the way up through these rocks to the very, very back. And the judge was with us all the way going, okay, what's this? Okay. So, the judge herself, you'd think being a learned, very good judge who's tried a lot of cases and knew how to determine a case. She didn't want to go by the paper. She didn't want to go by the representations. She wanted to see it with her own eyes. So, there's going to be 12 jurors, maybe 15 with the alternates. And, at least one of them is going to say, wait a minute, why can't I go there? So to answer
what happens then? What happens if one of them do that and they say, well, the house has been demolished?
The judge will give some kind of a curative instruction and say, you're to make no references or inferences from the fact the place was destroyed. It was demolished by agreement of both parties. You're to draw no inferences from that. There'll be a curative instruction, and you're to base your verdict on the evidence as it is. I'm trying to remember what trial it was. The Hannah Gutierrez trial a couple of weeks ago. The jury came back with a question, and the judge refused to answer it. And she said, you're supposed to base your verdict on what you've heard.
What?
Tommy and his audience agreed that it has become quite a complicated case. I mean, at least 3 different law enforcement agencies and other agencies participating in the investigation, and then the subsequent forensics to put it all together. It's taken a long time to get where we are now, and we're still a long way off from the trial. There's a lot of evidence. There's 51 terabytes, apparently, of discovery materials that have been handed over to Ann Taylor. The deadlines for discovery are way out. They may change. The alibi is up in the air. Apparently, there are a lot of loose ends and tangled webs in this case. And so I guess we all had to agree there are many, many, many observations and questions. Ann Taylor said 2 or 3 times, well, in the police reports that I've read, so she has at least a couple of police reports.
She's read them.
But we don't have them. No, you're right. We have the PCAs. We have whatever we have. But
so what you're saying, they're probably under seal? Is that part of the under seal?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And the arriving officers, the ones that make observations. I went to the scene. I went inside. I saw this. I saw that. I saw blood.
Why would they put the 911 call under seal? I don't understand that one.
It must be a bombshell. It must be horrible. It must be a bombshell. Maybe the people we're talking about think about the scene. Think about it. Just, imagine 4 dead bodies that have been gruesomely, chopped to pieces with this K-bar or whatever knife.
Right.
And, imagine that. I can't even imagine that, what the scene must have been like. And so who knows? I mean, if I'd seen something like that, I probably would have been ballistic. And these are young people, who knows what they were saying? Who knows how they were reacting? So, I don't know. I guess it's one of those situations where they think, and I totally disagree with every government official from the dog catcher up to the president when they say, you can't handle the truth. Yes, I can. Don't tell me what I can handle and what I can't handle. But I think that's what they're thinking. We can't handle it. So with all of the motion hearings and the deadlines being pushed back, the alibi, the discovery deadlines, and as we do this episode, there's not even a trial date at this point. It's really been a rocky path for this case. And Tommy Jude and his viewers had the same impression, and they also had more questions and observations. Those observations then turned to University of Idaho President Scott Green, who has been in the not-so-secret background of the case ever since the start, when he met with law enforcement twice a day. I mean, he's the university president, and in his book, he brags about his administrative and financial savvy that he brought this university from the brink of bankruptcy to, complete solvency. And, shouldn't he be
Right.
back at the university, looking at the books? And I guess that's not his job, but to, watch the people that are looking at the books and having meetings with the board of directors or the regents. And isn't that his job? I worked at a university for a couple of years, a different one. And I don't, there's always crimes in the university town. Usually they're much lower level, but I don't remember the university president having anything to do with that. I mean, they had a police department, and if it was a big crime, they brought the state police in for the big stuff. But I mean, that's not the university president's job. That's just not his job. So that was an unseemly kind of a connection. That was really an unseemly kind of a connection.
Strange, very strange, actually. To me, it was. It was just like, why were they holding meetings with Green? What does he got to do with anything? It's not even, you know what I mean? Yeah,
I know exactly what you mean. I mean, I can see him making a phone call maybe once a week to the police chief and saying, "Hey, how are things going? Do you need any information from my end? I'm happy to give you whatever information. I'll send my guys over, or if you need information, I'll send you. If you think the suspect is over here, I'll send you whatever emails you want." But once a week I could see. But
all right, why don't you come on over? We're going to have a $250,000 meal. Come on.
Yeah. And those consultants, and they paid $350,000 to consultants. Hey, I want to be a consultant.
All right. Yeah. Where do you sign up for that job?
I don't know. And the initial press conferences that they had, Green was standing right there. He's right there. I mean, the state police are there. The local police are there. The sergeant, the corporal, the chief. I mean, it's their day.
It's like this, Andy. If they took a snapshot picture, it's one of those pictures that goes, who doesn't fit in this picture?
It's like do you remember the old Sesame Street routine? One of these things doesn't fit with the other. Yes, I'll keep my day job. I can't sing.
Oh my God. But you get the point across good.
It's a really unseemly connection. I mean, law enforcement is law enforcement, and allegedly they had the top people there. They had, the state police, the FBI, their police. I guess they called in other resources because Bill Thompson can't even get them to give him what he needs. And so that's how many resources they had. But I wouldn't think that the university president is one of them. I've known some academics. I've known some people in the hierarchy of a university, and they're very heady people. And I mean that with all due respect. Their area is philosophical, educational, making sure the curriculum they have now is going as planned, but also planning next year's curriculum and next decade's curriculum, because the stuff they're teaching now didn't even exist 10 years ago. So that's their job, balancing the budget, making sure the faculty is there, that they have the faculty to reach the demands of the curriculum. That's what the university people are trained to do. They're not trained to solve crimes. I really don't know, but if I was pushed and pressed to have my own theory, it was a party house, right? Well, we all know that if somebody asks you, "Hey man, you want a party?" They don't mean, "Oh, what, you want to eat Doritos and dip and play pin the tail on the donkey?" No.
Play Twister,
no, Twister, right? You go in the Urban Dictionary and look up party, and one of the definitions is to do drugs. So it was a drug house. Yes, I've said it on my podcast, so I'll say it again. It was a drug house. Party house is a drug house. And there are rumors, and that's all they are. It's only speculation, but there are rumors and speculation.
Right.
They didn't want that anymore. They didn't want that. They didn't want that connection anymore. And I'm not going to go down the Ashland Couch, Emma Bailey, Demetrius rabbit hole, but they didn't want that anymore. And so the theory is that one of them ditched the drugs and got rid of them or flushed them or did something to them. And, the dealers want their money. They wanted their money. And this kind of a savage, brutal hit has all the hallmarks of that. So again, that's my speculation. But to me, that has the ring of truth. Whereas that somebody was an incel and he asked out one of the pretty girls and they said no, he did this. It doesn't have the ring of truth in my mind from reading a lot of true crime over the years. True crime, not the fiction. So I don't know.
Maybe it's not so quiet here after all. You see, right behind me is a highway, a north-south highway, so people can get here to the lake and enjoy it like me. Anyhow, as our interview wound down and came almost to the end, Tommy and his viewers had one last question for me, and that was, without even knowing me, they wanted to know, why did I become an attorney?
Oh, she wanted to know something about you, why you became an attorney.
Oh, God. Why not?
Yes. Right.
My grandfather was an attorney, and he was in Manhattan. He was in Lower Manhattan. So I have great memories as a child visiting New York City. And unfortunately, he passed away before I even went to college. So I never had really substantive conversations with about. So my grandfather was an attorney in Manhattan, and my uncle was a really successful attorney out in Seattle. So, I always thought about it. I was always going to do it. And when I was at Emerson, I took the very few media law classes that they had. And so I was in the media game for 10 years. And I finally said, that's enough. That's enough of that. I went to law school.
Right. Yeah.
So that brings us to the end of the interview that I did with Tommy Jude and his great viewers over on his channel, Once Upon a Crime Time. So I'll post a link down in the comment section so that you can stay tuned and watch his channel. It's a great channel. We all are different and we all have different perspectives. And so thank you, by the way, for sticking with me this long. So now it is time for us, as we always do, encourage you to like, subscribe, and more importantly, share with your friends, your enemies, your relatives. Please be sure to comment. We like our comments. We only, as always, have 2 rules. 1, be polite and respectful. And 2, please don't slander anyone or say, so-and-so did this or that person did that, because we do have a delete button. And guess what? We do use it. Always remember to be polite, be respectful, whether you're in the grocery store or the big box store. Please remember, you don't know what the other person is going through. So be polite, be respectful, and above all, I hope that you have a great day. You have been watching About the Law, a production of the law offices of Andrew D. Myers in Methuen in the Merrimack Valley of Massachusetts and in Derry, just outside of Manchester, New Hampshire. Remember to click the like and subscribe buttons down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to share it with your friends and others. If you'd like to talk to me about an injury case, a car accident, a slip and fall, a serious bodily injury case, or some other case, please feel free to contact me. I'd love to talk to you. You can contact us through my website at attorney-myers.com. We have a contact us block, or you can call on one of the telephone numbers we've given there, or you can email me at andrew@attorney-myers.com. The foregoing is offered for informational purposes only. It is not intended as and does not constitute legal advice. Laws vary widely from state to state. You should rely only on the advice given to you during a personal consultation by a local attorney thoroughly familiar with state laws and the area of practice in which your concern lies. This podcast must be and hereby is labeled advertisement in some jurisdictions.